and, if you wish, a favor. All right? The favor I will ask, and what can be considered, in a sense, a motto of any interaction we have with you, will be to please, do not believe anything I say just because I said it. Understand? This is all about self-empowerment. It is all about your recognition of your ability to create the lives you wish to create. We are more than willing to function as reflections, to serve you, to share with you, to love you, to interact with you, to play with you. But remember that we are all, you and us, teachers and learners, equals in that way. We all have our own perspectives, and we simply function as mirrors to reflect, once again, to you, the things you already know within you, to show you, to allow you to be aware of things within you that you can then decide are what you prefer, ideas, perspectives, methodologies in life, or you can decide you do not prefer them. It is up to you. This evening of your time, let us discuss, and this can be your entitlement, intuition and intellect. For many of you, being such a polarized society, have considered these concepts to be something that have nothing to do with one another. As many polarities are created in your society, very often you have forgotten that they both must come from a single source at the center that has created both polarities. So, instinct, intuition, and intellect, reason. Yes, they are polarities. They are dichotomies, it seems, in your society, but they are actually simply variations, or if you wish, degrees of the same consciousness, of the same energy, like anything is. Intuition, or what you may call instinct, as you recognize it in what you call the animal kingdom, is the same type of energy, the same type of consciousness that you utilize when you allow yourself to become self-aware in an analytical, intellectual, reasoning, focused idea. It is the same consciousness. The animals, in a sense, are self-aware. It is simply that they do not have the degree of persona focus in the same way that you do. It can be said that consciousness, in its natural homogeneous state, when it is all that is, undergoes degrees of focus, of self-limitation, of self-compaction. The animal level of consciousness represents to some degree one level of compaction, but the analytical, the intellectual focus represents a higher degree of compaction. That is all. That is the only difference between intellectual and instinct. This is one of the reasons why, in having created the polarity in your society of scientific thought and belief on faith, why you have created such a polarity and sometimes such a war between these two ideas. For each side fears the other side for what it believes to be an absolute opposite of the way it chooses to function, and it fears to incorporate, blend, and balance the other side for fear that they will lose what perspective they have, rather than recognizing they will simply gain an opportunity to blend and balance that perspective with another aspect of the same consciousness. It is not truly opposite in the sense that it has nothing to do with the way you might think or you might feel. Your scientists, in that sense, have simply been hesitant to rely on instinct or intuition, because when you begin to do that, you soften the focus of your persona, and it does, quote unquote, not allow for as high degree a concentration of compaction of analysis, intellectualization, rationalization, and the like. But in no way, shape, or form does it mean that intuition is an invalid way to access information. And those that are more, in your terms, instinctive do not have to fear they will become trapped in a quagmire of tunnel vision if they simply are willing to adopt aspects of blending in reason and intellectuality. These ideas can be blended, can be balanced. One is simply an extension to a higher degree of the other, but it is all one consciousness. This is one of the reasons we have discussed many times why, in a sense, animal consciousness is an extension of you, and in a sense, you are an extension of it. You are reflections of each other. What you call instinct and intellect are simply different degrees of the same consciousness. Different applications, if you will. You can blend and balance these things, and it will not be at the cost of your reason, nor will it be at the cost of your intuition. You will have both. Both will be applied when and where they are needed. Both are natural in that sense, natural to anything that considers itself to be a sentient being. It is one of the things that is representative of the blending and the balancing going on in your transformational age. You are never now, after what you have been through, going to become absolutely 100% instinctive. You are not going to become 100% intellectual. In blending both, you will be able to apply, where necessary and when necessary, all attributes. Remember that fourth density is the integration of everything you have ever been, not the exclusion of it. It is the integration of all of it, and the use of all of it when and where it applies. In perfect timing, in total trust, with absolute clarity of reason and insight in both senses of the term. You'll all follow along. So the idea of any interaction with us, whether you choose to use intuition or intellect in interacting with us, allow us to remind you that the idea is of balance, not the idea or another has to overcome the other way, but of balance, of allowance, of trust, of integration. At this timing, allow us to extend once again to each and every one of you our utmost appreciation in your willingness to co-create this interaction, to allow us to share and drink deeply of the consciousness that you are uniquely, to give us an appreciation of the differences and the diversity you have created yourself to be, and simply to have fun with you, to share, to play, to love, to grow together as equals in our own ways. For this gift, I ask you now, how may I serve you?
Howdy, license plate 1, FMW626, your lights are on.
It does not belong to me. Thank you. Shutting.
Good evening, Bashar.
And to you.
And to you. 3 months ago, you shared some guidance with me about singing. I'd asked you about singing and how I could go about bringing that excitement into my life. And you told me to just do it, to sing. And incorporating that and with being present in the moment so that opportunity can find me.
Yes, to act like a singer so you will have the life of a singer.
Yeah, exactly. I have started singing professionally.
Thank you.
And I sang with Stephen Halpern last Sunday night at the closing of the Crystal Congress.
Did you have a good time?
I had a ball. It was incredible. It was wonderful. And then Monday I sang for the soundtrack of 6 videos, the
Oh,
soundtrack.
no stopping you now.
Built with Neville Rowe, and I channeled mermaids, and it was like, and dolphins, and it was so wonderful, and I just wanted to share that excitement with you, and thank you.
Thank you for no longer waiting to be who you knew you were and are.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
And my question is, do you have any information about a mineral by the name of sugilite?
Yes.
And would you share that with me?
It is, in your terms, connected obviously to the crown vibration in that way. Understand? Violet light.
Yes.
And because many of these things are now gaining predominance in your society, because you are now becoming aware of it, because it seems new to you, it is simply a synchronistic indication of the areas that you are now moving towards in terms of light vibration, the violet crown area. You are all accelerating up. It can be as a trigger, as a tool, as a symbol, very conducive for many individuals to put them in touch with those aspects that represent their astral selves in that way, and perhaps allow there to be more release in the sense, more blending in the sense of the non-physical and the physical realms, more communication, so that it becomes more natural for you to understand there really is no difference between them, that you can blend them together. It can be used in that way. It is one way. Okay. Some of it also has to do, and will perhaps evoke in some of you, connections into what you may colloquially call, quote unquote, now I do not mean this in the sense to elevate anyone judgmentally above anyone else, but to connections of royalty that all of you have had in that way. Lineages in that sense, the recognition of the idea of royalty in the meaning that you all have that inner glow, the higher light, that you are all a royal lineage when you choose to believe yourselves to be, that you all can have the perspective of the violet ray that allows you to penetrate and see through the dimensions that interconnect your world to all other worlds. That understanding that was had in Egyptian times and Atlantean times, and sometimes in what you would call your Renaissance period, where there was a strong attachment to the idea. And why? Not only because of the scarcity of dye, for that is no accident, purple became the royal color. Understand?
Yes.
Does that assist you?
Yes, very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. There are a few more things you may discover on your own, and there will be a few more things that other individuals who are working from a different perspective now will start to release as ideas that that mineral can be used for within your society within the next year of time. There will be more understandings, more applications. Some of it has also, in small amounts, a very pacifying aspect, as it to some degree can represent a higher vibration of the rose quartz. You follow me?
Yes.
So it can be a very deepening and a very impassioned enriching of the heart vibration for some individuals. Sometimes it may invoke memories of the use of blood in your society, or what blood symbolizes, that deep, rich idea of the violet that allows you to know you're on the verge, on a threshold of a transformation. Understand?
Yes.
New lifeblood in that way.
New lifeblood. Good. Thank you kindly.
Thank you. Shutting.
Greetings, Bashar.
And to you, goodbye.
May I ask a question about some things that were discussed last week?
As
All right. You were discussing the oversoul and showed a wonderful matrix of all past lives and how it all goes about. My question is, if we had made a certain soul judgment for ourselves before incarnating,
yes.
can we talk to the oversoul and change it?
To some degree, yes. You have a great degree of flexibility within the original ideas or agreements you have made. They are not as restrictive as you think, and a change is not necessarily a change of the primal agreement, but simply a change within it. A change to do something in a different way, still fulfilling the agreement, rather than the old way you used to fulfill the agreement. You understand?
Yes.
So those changes can occur even within the agreement. They do not have to be looked at as needing to change the entire overall agreement, because the majority of the agreements you make before you are physical are general and not always very specific.
Oh, okay.
Understand?
Yes.
General themes you agree to play out, but you have the ability to decide and change at any time in your life how you play those themes out.
That doesn't affect the other matrix of all the other lives and incarnations?
Oh, yes,
that are
to
going
some
on?
degree it does. Any change will, in that sense, affect it. Any change in you in the present changes your past and your future, but that doesn't mean that it's a cancellation of the original agreement. It simply means it can be a continuation of the original agreement in a new way. Understand?
Yes.
Does that serve you?
Yes, thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Shooting!
Hi, Bashar.
Aye.
I'm going to ask two questions because a friend of mine could not come back this week.
All right.
She was on the leftovers, so I have a question.
Leftovers.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, her question is in regards to, can you give us some insight as to why and the wherefore of the death of the dolphins on the East Coast? What that is?
As to some degree, it still ties in with some of the magnetic fluctuations that are going on upon your planet. The dolphins can be just as easily confused as many of you with some of the fluctuations that are going on. Understand?
Yes.
They guide themselves along electromagnetic lines, and sometimes shifts in those electromagnetic lines will divert them from the direction they actually prefer to go into, thinking that they are heading that way when they are not. In other words, it confuses their magnetic sensing devices to some degree. But an overall reason to still interact with your humanity in any way, shape, or form they can will allow some of them to choose ways that may seem drastic to you, but will bring to your awareness the fact that they exist and will allow you to stretch your hearts out to them, so that in that stretch, even if for what seems to be a negative reason, there will be contact which can then be transformed into positive interaction. You follow me?
Yes, but what is the symbolism? What are they trying to get us to understand?
On a fundamental
how could
sense
we
that you are one society, that you need to interact with them, that you are two alien species on one planet. They are sentient beings like you. Humans are not the only aliens on Earth. Aliens to us, that is. Dolphin, cetacean, whale, that is the second alien species upon Earth. You have been segregated for a very long time. It is time now to blend and balance and become one society, interacting, helping each other, sharing with each other, playing with each other, to become the one world that will allow you to interact with other whole integrated worlds. That's the fundamental reason for the interactions now. Understand?
Yeah, I just don't see what the death, how that is going to incorporate people to play more.
The idea is that certain individuals in your society are only enticed when others are, in your terms, in trouble. Understand?
Yes.
Sometimes what you call tragedy is the only way to reach some of your hearts. And so they will be willing to do that. Understand?
Yes.
Does that serve you?
Yes, yes. And my question is, I've been going through a lot of disorientation.
How exciting!
Yeah.
Right in time with everyone else who is disorienting from their old reality and orienting toward a new one. What reality do you prefer to orient to?
In an orientated one, that's...
As soon as you make a choice, you will orient into it. As soon as you make a choice and act on it. Are you doing what excites you the most in life?
Yes, somewhat.
Yes, somewhat.
Well, I thought that perhaps, with you having the hotline...
Me?
Yes. Well,
you
seem to
have
a
one
clear-
too, you know.
I know, but there's some interference on my line, obviously.
Obviously, it is not obvious at all to me.
Well, then, I guess I'm just not getting the messages clearly to assist in my getting out of the upheaval that I seem to be going through.
Upheaval.
With decisions and activities in my life, there doesn't seem to be a sense of direction.
Are you doing at any given moment the thing that excites you the most that you're capable of doing at that moment? Or are you waiting for something better to come along before you act?
Well,
Are you invalidating the things that excite you in the moment because they seem, in that sense, frivolous and not connected to the things you think you want to do on the surface?
Well, I seem to have an MO of doing too much in life at times, so I'm trying to pull back from that and allow more. But
What do you want to do? What is the thing that excites you the most? And are you doing all these other things because you don't believe you can do the thing that excites you? And you feel you have to do a lot of busy work in order to get yourself to a point where you can do the thing that excites you? Does something excite
Yes.
you? What
Well,
is it?
Okay, there's a move that I want to do to the west side of town.
All right.
Okay, and there seems to be a lot of activity that's getting me nowhere with that.
Why do you want to move?
Because I don't like where I'm living.
All right.
That doesn't
What do
excite
you
me
want
anymore.
to do in life? What excites you? Besides the idea of the move.
Well, my career excites me.
Well, thank you. Which excites you more, the career or the move?
Well, the career.
Well, then,
Yes.
why are you focused on the move, which is only one of the details that will fall into place automatically when you act upon the thing that excites you the most?
Well, you see, that's what I don't have a lot of trust in, because I don't see how my pursuing
trust.
of my career is going to bring that about.
Why not? Why
I
not?
I just don't see it that way.
Why not?
I
May I ask you a question?
Sure.
Would you like to see it that way?
Sure.
Then see it that way.
Okay.
Believing is seeing, not the other way around. You have to believe it before you will see it. But if you believe it, you will see it. I guarantee it.
Well, isn't there any kind of even mini manifestations that can happen along the way to give the faith of
Yes,
that?
in a sense there are, but again, they also take believing is seeing. You have to take the first step before you see a change in scenery. Otherwise, if you don't move, nothing will change around you, apparently. You will stay, quote unquote, where you have always been until you take the first step.
But I am changing my belief system.
All right.
Okay.
But you have already expressed a reluctance to trust that you can change it as quickly as you wish to. Not believing, or not willing to believe, that if you simply act upon what excites you the most, that all the other details will take care of themselves automatically, to allow you to continue to do what excites you the most. If doing what excites you the most requires that you be in a living situation that allows you to be happier than where you are now, then it will automatically have to be attracted into your life. Otherwise, you won't be able to do what excites you the most. And that won't happen that way. Act upon whatever you are capable of acting on in what excites you the most, and all the details and circumstances and situations and relationships that have to be there to support you in what excites you the most will come to you. And then all you have to do is act on them when they come, because you'll recognize them when they come, and it won't be a difficult decision. Understand?
Yeah, I guess I was just sensing some blockage, and I thought you might be able to.
But
help
blockage
in
is
my
only
meditation.
unwillingness to move in the direction that is actually most obvious. That is all a blockage is. It is lack of trust. That's it. That is all a blockage is. None of you ever have any real blocks. It is simply a lack of willingness to believe that what you really know is what you really know. Plain and simple. You are more willing to complicate it and say, well, there must be something here I'm missing. It can't be that easy. It can't be that simple. It can't work together. It can't dovetail in. One thing doesn't fit into another. It doesn't appear to be connected. I can't do this and automatically have that. Why not? Why not? Why not? All these things that you are saying are merely assumptions. They are merely beliefs you have been taught. They have no more fundamental reality or solidity than anything else. You can decide what system of interconnected creative reality you prefer to believe in, and that's the one that will work for you. All beliefs generate their own self-perpetuating systems of support. That's why they are all true. They're all real. They all work. It is simply that when individuals upon your planet in the past have found that one particular system works for them, they create the assumption that therefore that's the only system that works, forgetting completely that before they found that system, another system worked for them just as well. And realizing then that all systems work when you believe in them, you can then appreciate the fact that different systems are simply different expressions of the same one, all that is, manifesting itself in all the different ways that it can. So when you define definitions, when you define the system you prefer and act like you believe it will work just as validly as any other system you have lived in, that you have created, it will work for you just as strongly as any other system. And you don't have to say, well, the other systems haven't worked for me. Yes, they have. Because what you get with a negative belief is a negative working system. So when you say, well, I don't believe I'm capable of this, or I believe this will not happen, that's what you get. Something that does not work, that does not happen. You get an absolute 100% reflection of what you believe in most strongly. So when you change your belief, you will change the apparatus, the mechanism by which you create your reality, and you will get that feedback. I guarantee it. Yes, I know it's a matter of trust, but if you know it's a matter of trust, then simply saying it's a matter of trust and not acting as if you believe that, then is simply an excuse. Because if you know you have a habit, it's no longer a habit. It's just an excuse. Understand?
Yeah, I guess.
I guess. What is not clear?
Well, I guess I am changing my belief system,
Yes,
and I
you
still
are.
don't see the manifestation thereof.
Don't put an expectation in the way you think you ought to see it. Let it come in a way that it will come along the path of least resistance. Because you don't necessarily have the analytical ability to understand all the ways that it could come. And when you focus on the one way you think it should come, you shut all the other doors through which it might come quicker. Understand? Open up. That's what trust is all about. Saying, all right, this is what I believe I need, but this is what really excites me. So if I act upon what really excites me in any way, shape, or form that I can, I will trust that all the other circumstances that I really need to be allowed to continue to act upon what excites me the most in highest ecstasy will fall into place, make themselves obvious, and then I will simply act upon them when they occur, even if they are not what I originally expected. Don't you want some surprise in your life?
Sure. I have surprises every day.
All right. Let them be positive surprises by allowing yourself to recognize that if you simply move in the direction of what excites you the most, all the ingredients will fall into place to allow you to continue in that same direction. Understand? Okay. It does work. It's a simple mechanism. But you'll have to trust it, believe in it, and act upon it before you will allow yourself to see it work. But it will work. I guarantee it. There are no exceptions, not even you.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One moment. Remember that for many of you, in exploring what your beliefs are, that is also, as you say, critical. To use the situations you are creating to get in touch with what you believe that created the situation you are in. And allow yourself to understand whether or not it is an issue of believing that you deserve that things can change. For many of these things you have hidden in your unconscious and subconscious selves, you have created the unconscious and subconscious selves to hide these things within. So whatever process you are going through now, it is giving you the time to discover all the things within yourself so that you can then have a complete enough definition of what you are doing, so that then if you don't prefer it, you will have a complete enough definition to change into one that you do prefer. Continue.